Life in Uruguay is beautiful. The cost of living here in Uruguay is comparable to what I was doing in the United States. Florida got pretty expensive. Some things are more expensive, some things are less. Cars and everything having to do with a car is more expensive. I've noticed actually, because I'm paying my bills every month, that I spend less money here overall in Uruguay than I did in the United States. And I think a large part of that has to do with there's no Amazon here. I'm not in that conspicuous consumption culture where you just got to buy to make yourself feel better or something. But the thing is, I don't miss it. I wish I'd known before I moved here how easy it was going to be for me to transition, how comfortable I'd feel here. The biggest difference between my life now and my life before is really that I am a calmer person here. I'm not running that low-level anxiety inside. I'm not worried about my child at school or getting abducted or any of those things. It feels a little more wholesome in terms of that for his childhood. And also, there's no aggravation. An Uruguayan man said to me that Uruguayan people don't have aggravation in their hearts. And I realized that I, as an American, had a lot of aggravation things, and that's slowly dissipating. You know, you don't change overnight, but that's slowly moving away.
Alan, tell me, when did you move to Uruguay?
I moved to Uruguay about 4 months ago and came from the United States. I lived in New York City for most of my adult life, living and working there. Recently, we moved to Florida, my son and I. We were there for about 5 years. I thought it would be an easier way to raise a son, a child, a place where things were a little more natural. He could be outside more. Also, I had family there. After a few years, I realized it wasn't going to last, and it wasn't going to be the best place for many reasons. You know, the microcosm is the macrocosm. I think that the state of Florida kind of showed what was also going on in the country in general. And there's a lot of great things about my home, the United States. But I think what started probably in the 80s, and I was always aware of this, and then really fast forwarded after COVID, woke me up to the idea that this might not be the best place, systemically, ecologically, environmentally, and very importantly, because my son is 10 years old, with the education. I was fortunate that I was able to try a few things because we lived in a few different places, in New York and then, of course, in Florida. Uruguay really wasn't on my radar, Karen, except that I did have a friend who you know.
Yeah, and the other Karen.
The other Karen.
Yeah.
And she had been coming here for about 20 years on holiday. She had been introduced to it. I'd never come here with her, and you know, Uruguay is an out-of-the-way country. It's not like it's the major radar like Europe or Italy or France. She'd always spoken well about it, and she knew that I was dissatisfied with how things were going in Florida and that I was considering a move or relocation. She suggested that I come down and visit Uruguay in July.
Best time to come, when the weather is the worst.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
You'll see what it's like when the weather's the worst, and if you like it, it can only go up from there. She also set me up with a friend of hers who was also an expat, a family who had moved down from Brooklyn, and they had 2 girls who were attending a school called the Garzon School. I Zoomed with Amber. We emailed a bit. She spoke so highly of it. That really started to pique my interest. I looked at the website of the school, and when we came down here, on the second visit actually, I met with them, and I realized right away that this was a place that I wanted, could possibly work for my son educationally. After our second trip, I started the whole process of residency, and I wasn't sure we were going to move here yet, but I thought, let's get this thing going.
Sure.
I can start getting all the documents that I'm going to need, getting birth certificates and getting them apostilled in the United States. And at that time, actually, I believe that was the time when you and I had our conversation on Zoom. And I had a lot of questions for you. And also you recommended relocation companies. One, you said to me, well, these are newer and they're younger. I said, I'm going to go that route because I prefer to text rather than talk on the phone. And usually younger people like to text. So anyway, that was Sierra Atlantica. I made contact with them. And on our third visit down, we really geared up and started the whole residency process.
If hiring sounds exactly what you need, I've got a tip for you. Relocation specialist Sierra Atlantica. They make getting residency, opening a bank account, choosing healthcare providers, schools, so much easier than doing it alone. Uruguay readers who have used them have rated them an almost perfect 10 out of 10, and they have a 4.9 out of 5 on Google reviews. So that's Sierra Atlantica. www.sa.uy.
It was our last visit, and I still haven't formulated 100% in my mind that we were going to move here because I wanted my son to see the school. I wanted him also to be part of the decision.
Sure.
He had his interview at the school, 45 minutes, and he came out and I said, "So what did you think?" And he said, "I love it." I said, "Great," because the election had been that week.
So, okay.
So I was happy. And so that was in November, and from there, I just started right away, packing up the house, selling what I didn't need to own, because when you move abroad, you start thinking to yourself, what do I really need? How much do I really need? And you realize that you don't need a lot of things to live a good life. So school started March 6th, and next week he's wrapping up the second term.
And how's everything going?
It's going great. You know, he's happy. When I ask him, so what do you think about the school? And he'll say, 7 out of 10. I said, okay, so what did you give your school in Florida? 6.5. So already. But you know what's funny? This morning, sitting at breakfast, he took a book out and was reading as he was eating his challah bread toast, which that's a whole other story. But he's never read a book before at breakfast. And he's also now taking a book to bed. And I'm not saying that this is, the school did this, but it's something that's just happened with him. And I don't really say, okay, why don't you take a book? Why don't you read? None of those things. I just hopefully let him discover things and let it happen on his own. It's going well.
Amazing.
It's going very well.
So what's an average day like for you here?
You know, Karen, it's not really any different than the day that I had in the United States, wherever I lived. I'm just doing it here now. I wake up, get my son ready for school, make him breakfast. His food breakfasts have changed a bit now. They're a little more European, a croissant or a scone or something, and then a piece of fruit, which is the way he always wanted to eat. But back in Florida, I was very focused on, you got to have your protein. Now I just let it go because he's happy. I drop him off. You know what's great too is driving him to school. It's a 20-minute drive to the school from where we live in Barra, which is a seaside town, kind of between Punta del Este and Jose Ignacio, as you know. We come out of that town, the first thing we see every morning is the ocean right in front of us. Every day the ocean is different. It's gray, it's tumultuous, it's calm, it's blue. Right away, there's that breath of fresh air that I feel. Then we make a left on 104 and we're heading into the country. What I found is so close to each other is this ocean environment and then also this country environment. Cows and sheep and horses just roaming and grazing, and mountains that I call mountains, but they're not really mountains according to the Uruguayans.
Hills.
Right, they're hills. But it's just beautiful vistas, and it just lets me breathe.
So that brings me to an important question. How easy is it to get around when you don't speak Spanish?
Right, because I did not speak any Spanish when I moved here. And my friend said, you'll do well for yourself if you start studying before you move. But out of sight, out of mind. Getting here, that could have been frustrating at the beginning. However, I ended up finding a tutor, meeting her at one of the farmers markets. We just kind of clicked, and she said, I teach Spanish, you've been here a couple of years. And my approach, or the approach that I wanted, was a more conversational thing, rather than starting out with grammar and nouns and conjugations and all that. I just needed to know.
That's so Anglo anyway.
Right.
That's our terrible approach to learning languages, right?
I guess, but I just wanted to know what I needed to say when I went to the grocery store, when I went to get gas.
Yeah.
Or also, I would write down things. They were always incorrect spelling, but I sounded them out phonetically. I'd write them down on paper, and I'd come back and I'd say, okay, I was at the grocery store, and she said, algo más. What does that mean? Well, now I know it means anything else. And then from there, we would list out things that I could say in response. No, I'm all finished. May I also have this? Thank you very much, or whatever. This is kind of how I've approached learning Spanish. Again, just getting through my day-to-day. And from there has come the vocabulary and the conjugations in a natural way.
In this part of Uruguay, on the coast where we are, Punta del Este region, let's say, my impression is that there are a lot more people that actually speak English. Would you say that?
Absolutely.
Do you find that?
Absolutely. And that makes getting around a lot easier here in this, as you say, on the coast, which is kind of a vacation bubble. I'm comfortable in a vacation bubble. I've always lived in one. So yeah, people speak English here, and that's easy to get around. There's been times when an electrician has had to come to the apartment that we're renting. There's been some trouble. It's a brand new building, and it has its growing pains. He's come, young guy on a skateboard with ChatGPT, and he'll speak into it. He speaks back, I speak back and forth, and it goes well. Even in terms of humor, we can laugh and make jokes with each other.
So many people have told me about how they've been like falling around laughing at the dentist using translation tools.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, things like in Punta del Este or Maldonado, where I take my son to the dentist speaks English. The pediatrician didn't. And yet we were able to get along with the Google Translate. And I even found out that her family comes from Italy, near Torino, where my family comes from. So there's all these kinds of connections that happen with or without language.
How is your son doing where the language is concerned?
He'll come home after school, say to me, "Mi comida preferisca es hamburguesa. ¿Y tú?" So, my favorite food is hamburger. What about you? He's learning Spanish at school a couple of days a week.
So he doesn't. It's an English language school primarily.
English,
doing
Spanish.
the Uruguayan
They do both.
curriculum.
They teach concurrently in English and Spanish.
Okay.
So his math class is 100% in Spanish, which works because he's quick with math and he's grasping the concepts and also kind of feeling the words at the same time.
And the figures are the same.
Exactly,
So.
the figures are the same.
Are you finding it easy to make friends?
So I thought about that, and the director of the school said to me at one time that moving here was kind of a W curve, that there would be the highs, the lows, the ups, the down, medium. And for the first couple of weeks, I was at the top of that W curve. And then one day, I was down. And I was looking at what was actually getting me down. And I realized, I'm not sure I feel connections. Is it going to be easy to make friends? I'm not feeling how that's going to work out. And of course, that afternoon, I met people and they said, come on over for a glass of wine or whatever. And then right away, bang, up the W curve I went. But I've moved around a couple of times since the birth of my son, and I realized friendships are not easy. They just don't happen. It seems like it takes a couple of years to really get into a groove and start feeling comfortable enough.
Having a kid certainly helps.
That helps a lot. And what I've found actually is at the school, already the other parents and I, we have things in common. Philosophically, we have things in common.
Which is why you chose that school.
Yes, we've all taken chance at this small country. Many people are from Argentina, but there's people from Germany and Russia and the United States, of course, England. We've all taken a chance at this very new school, progressive, forest, tech school. We saw the potential there and how our kids can learn. So right away, we have all that in common. Yeah. So that makes conversations and dinners easy to get along, much easier. I was invited to a asado one afternoon, and there were people from all over, Uruguayans.
So we should just explain what an asado is.
Apologies. An asado is a grill, and it's something that they do, a lot of people do every Sunday afternoon, the grill.
Maybe even 2 or 3 times a week.
Absolutely. And it always starts with the provolone cheese that's in the grill, which is delicious, and then the sausage is cut up. The pork, which is called Matambrito, my favorite. And then the meats, and then the sides. Anyway, it's amazing. And there was probably about 3 or 4 families there. And a friend had brought some wine, and we started drinking a little wine. Not a lot, but halfway through there, somebody made a joke, and we were just all roaring with laughter. And I actually had a belly laugh. And historically, in my mind, your friends are the people that you know how to have belly laughs with, because you have that history, you've shared experiences, things that have happened in the past that are funny. And I was amazed that I was having this belly laugh now with relatively new people.
And that you made through your kids' school.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You're in your first half year, let's say, of living in Uruguay. And so you're having to deal with all the stuff, right? Residency and buying a car and that kind of thing. How's that going?
I started the whole process, as I told you, before I had even made the final decision to move here. And you had recommended Sierra Atlantica, and I started work with Diego remotely with him right away. And that made my life so much easier. Granted, it's something you pay for, it's a service you pay for.
Sure.
But well worth it in my mind. On our third trip here, we were getting the identity cards. And Dante really needed one because the school required it in order for him to be enrolled. So,
They didn't just take a passport?
No, they needed that. And
that's unusual, because normally with a passport, even in state schools here as well, that's fine initially.
They required this, and they also required a health checkup,
Yeah.
all done by Uruguayan
That's
doctors. We were in Montevideo. We had just gotten off the airplane, so we were a little bit tired. Diego met us. We drove. We went to the government offices. I remember Dante just passed out on a chair while I'm talking. Diego just took care of everything. And there was something came up, and I forget what happened, but specifically what it was. He said to me, we don't have this. We need to do something else. We can do this tomorrow. But I have a friend. Let me make a phone call. He came back. He said, look, we can go do this today. It's going to be another couple of hours of work. I said, let's go. Let's do it. What I loved right there was the fact that he had the resources and also the energy, as I have, to let's get it done. Let's not wait around. Because the next day we had to go have the medical exams and all that stuff.
So you arrived and you were already...
When we arrived, yes, 3 months later, we already had our...
your identity card, so
absolutely.
you'd started your residency and you were
And then
formal
a week after
here.
we moved here formally, I wanted to get a car. So I went back to Montevideo and went to one of the large dealerships called Car One. I wanted to buy a used car. Looked around for a few minutes, figured out what kind of car we wanted, called Diego. I said, hey, you want to come over and help me negotiate this whole thing? And he did. It was amazing. I mean, it ended up being 4 hours at the dealership on one day, and then 4 hours the next day to pay for everything, and then the notarizations and the insurances and all that stuff. And Diego was there the second day as well. And we drove away with a car.
Those are part of the services that you were provided.
I think that was part of the services. It's a la carte menu. So you do it that way.
Cool.
He also helped me getting the insurances at the hospitals, called the mutualistas.
That's got to be a relief when you're not familiar with the culture, and when you don't speak the language, like having somebody just kind of like guiding you around.
Absolutely. And even getting the license plate.
Yeah.
We had a day in Maldonado. We got the license plate, the health insurance. But what was
Would
great...
it be like that in the
Not
US
at
as
all.
well? No,
Not
it
at
wouldn't.
all.
I mean, in the UK, we wouldn't have to do that either. Like,
not at
there
all.
would be no notary involved in getting a car. There'd be no license plate involved in having to get one.
But throughout all
used
that,
car.
everybody is very pleasant. And it ends up being just like, not a joyful experience, but there's an element of joy to it. Because here we are working together, and I don't know, the people are all very nice. The people at the hospital, I still get emails from them helping me out, always very willing to help.
At the hospital that you're a member of?
Yes. Now, also, going back to the conversations or the Spanish, I find it much more helpful to be able to communicate with people online, either through an email or through WhatsApp, because then I can translate it, I can say what I need to say, translate it, send it back, and it's all very clear.
And it works with them
out
like
great.
that?
Yeah.
Amazing. That's fantastic. Obviously, an important part of what Uruguay can do is actually talk about what's not so great as well as what's great about Uruguay. And so I was wondering, you've been here a relatively short amount of time, but do you have any things that for you have surprised you negatively?
I can't say that things have surprised me negatively in a way.
Because you didn't have that many expectations.
I did not have a lot of expectations. A couple of things that are, I can give you some lighthearted ones and some things that are a little more systemic. Okay, so getting used to the way Uruguayans do things, especially in terms of the administrative things. That takes some getting used to, and I could get frustrated, but I don't. I choose not to. For example, if I need to pay my health insurance or make an appointment with the doctor, you have to call, get that thing set up, go pay for the appointment, get the ticket, let them know you paid for the appointment. There's all these processes that are not things the way it's been done, the way I'm used to doing things.
There could potentially be easier ways that you're unaware of right now. If I were you, I would like ask about that, because like I do all of my bills and things, including my health care, all online.
You do it online?
I choose my appointment online. I also I have the payment set up with a direct debit, and so when I go in for my appointment, there I have to sign that I'm paying for the appointment, because there's like a little ticket, it's called,
It's a ticket,
is about,
exactly.
it's like $10 or something additionally when you go into the doctor. And then they just say, how do you want to pay it? And I'm just like, and so I can just sign for it right then and there. I'm sure there are ways we can sort that out and find out easier ways for you.
So these are going to be the things that I continue to discover
Yes.
after living here, you know.
Yes.
First I needed to say, can I get cheese, you know. Now I know how to make an appointment. So that's one thing. I haven't really fallen into my food groove yet. I'm eating a lot more meat here, which I don't mind because the beef is delicious. And I know that it's grass-fed, that it's growing out there. But I haven't really figured out the fish thing yet. And I'm used to eating shrimp or salmon or another fish a couple of times a week. I haven't figured that part out yet.
We're going to be able to find some options for you. But for example, you can go down to the marina in Punta del Este, and you've got all of the fish stands there from the catch of the day.
Okay, so I've heard this, but I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
So that's just part of getting in the groove of it all.
Absolutely.
You know?
You've been doing a lot. You've just arrived.
Yeah. I mean, look, I love the idea actually of shopping the way you shop in Europe, that there's the bakery, you get your breads, there's the cheese store, there's the meat store. I found a great meat store. I haven't found the chicken store yet. I know of the chicken store, but I haven't been there yet. And now you're telling me about this.
And the other thing you have to find out about as well is regarding delivery. Because, for example, like a lot of organic providers will actually, if you get on their list, then they will bring round a box every week of produce of the week. That kind of thing. So we need to get you hooked up with that.
I need to get hooked up.
Yeah.
Again, it's not a negative. It's just kind of maybe more of a learning kind of a curve thing.
Yeah. And anything else you wanted to mention there?
Well, the car. Unfortunately, I owned the car for a week, and the school was under construction still, and a massive truck was backing towards me, and I backed up a bit and thought I had cleared the driveway, but I didn't, and I went into one of those ditches where the water runs. And it's only about 15 or 18 inches deep, but it was enough to destroy the radiator, the front, anyway, the air conditioning. So anyway, I've been trying to get this thing fixed for 4 months, and it's just not an easy thing. And most recently I had an estimate done, and they're lovely people, but they're busy. And I don't know if I'm on their top priority list. I don't know what it is. But trying to get that thing done and not speaking Spanish fluently, one of the more frustrating things that I've done here, but I don't let it get to me. I kind of know how it is, and I'm just going the patience route.
Yeah. Did you find them through another contact?
I found them through the dealership in Montevideo.
Okay, so
because
they
the
recommended
dealership said, you have to come here and get it fixed. I'm like, no, that's really far. It's an hour and a half away.
And so they suggested a local
They found a local for me.
Okay. I mean, I'm asking because normally how it works is obviously personal reference here.
Yeah.
So personal recommendation.
Might do better.
Yeah.
I mean, my friends do get their car fixed at this same place.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if it's just because of the volume that they're turning over, or because I asked that I didn't want to spend $8,000 to get the car fixed. I said, tell you what, let's cut this. Let's just do this part and do this part. Can you get me a re-estimate? Well, that's been 4 weeks already.
Gosh, yeah.
And then, of course, to fill up, $90 this morning.
For petrol.
For petrol. And look, what I realized is in the United States, we're used to lower gas prices because we produce there, we refine there, all of that. Here, everything's imported, much as it is in a European country. Yeah. Petrol in Europe is expensive, as it is here.
Yeah. One piece of advice for somebody thinking of moving to Uruguay?
Just do it. Just do it. I mean, we all have our fears, and we all have, obviously, financial considerations and things like this. But I've moved here, and I have not had one regret. I haven't looked back at all. And people are saying, friends of mine in the States, oh, well, you're still in the honeymoon phase. I don't know that I don't see how the honeymoon could ever be over. And I've spoken with a lot of people here that have moved as well, and they're like, we're still in the honeymoon phase. There is no end of it. So the other thing too is the people here, the whole life here is just a calmer existence. And I didn't realize how much low-level anxiety I was living. You just kind of live with it and it becomes part of you. Here I am now. My son, there are no lockdown drills at school. I can let him go walk to town in Barra, which is the town that we live in, walk 4 blocks, go to the supermarket and buy the gnocchi you want for dinner. And I know he's going to be fine. Nobody's going to kidnap a kid. You know, there's other things too. I was walking today on a walk along the beach, and there's a drop of about 3 feet. Well, there's no railings along the side. You know, even going into stores, there's drops of 2 feet, or at a restaurant at the beach, they don't have railings, because the attitude here is you take responsibility, which makes sense to me. You take responsibility for yourself. It doesn't seem like it's a litigious country at all.
I was going to say that it's not a Sioux culture here.
They're not going to blame, you're not looking to blame somebody else because of your misstep. I was talking about this a little bit with a friend of mine at the school, and he's from Uruguay. He said to me, well, here in Uruguay, we don't have aggravation in our hearts. And that's been with me ever since, because I think that says a lot about everything in this country. Even if people are rushing on the road and they're busy and speeding, you don't get a sense that they're angry. They're not honking their horn at you. They're not giving you the finger. They're not doing any of that stuff. They're just busy and they're passing, and that's it. There doesn't seem to be that sense of aggravation. And it's funny, when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm an American. I've had aggravation in my heart for a long time.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's an amazing point to end at.
Yes.
Thanks so much,
My
Alan.
pleasure.
This is amazing.
It's great, and it's great to meet you in person.
I can't believe that we haven't met,
Yeah.
because we did a consultation
We did,
together,
yeah.
and